thought it long as some were living in dark. You say you go bring illumination back, and when for some it was blood and tears, you presented yourself as the heart who cares. So it fade away till it was too late, and with the ex they give the heart the blessing. But now some people vow that it seems as though the heart stopped beating. Some people believe that all you didn't have a heart from the start, but these people are in the dark. They do not understand that in fact. The man on the hill in St. Patrick's know that. He said, man, you refuse to give the contract, but when all your campaign was in action, he yellow up the whole junction, and that the green he couldn't get a hold on. The yellowness was too vibrant and too strong, but at him as they drag him in the dust. Now all you commit is even worse. Oh, what about the old queen in the back of St. Andrews? She used to buzz out the wind, now she feels she lose. She house used to fool her yellow ancestries. People used to say she have yellow disease. Now you take she pension and water, cause she have some sun in Canada. Now when the morning then fall, she go in by the post office as usual, cause she don't want green people know she ain't getting that money no more. All you really have, oh, now she is disappointed in you. She feels shame and I'm angry too. All you have to fix up things like that, otherwise the stay will be short, cause all you really have heart. Now you touted yourself as the heart of gold, and such a heart could never seem cold. So don't mind how you try to justify it is cold to pay fat when a loved one die. Now the poor people who put the X for you are wondering where the hell the heart went. They find in recent time that they go into misery and torment. The cost of some sun is damn ridiculous in this land. That is why some people feel sure if you had a heart it is there no more. But I know the little young man will tell you the same.
A pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Not all you fooling. Tell him.
And how are we doing this afternoon?
Just do
it. It is another wonderful Monday in Grenada, Carriacon, PD Martinique.
We cannot see what that about your program. Plus you pretending you.
I hope each and every one of you guys are doing well.
So in you he lose all his faith and trust. If he got bloods and crips can be worse. Oh, what about the brother who walked yes with CCC? To be laugh you can.
Written in 2010.
When you sing chase.
Sang in 2010.
Never know.
Ladies and gentlemen, imagine
that
more than 15 years later, that this song is still relevant.
No, he's on
this song, after 3 years after electing the National Democratic Congress, the question is being asked very loudly.
Well, some days he feels like giving up. He cannot put food in his family pot. Well, it is believe the things like that. That does make people say Joe not coming back, because all you already have. No, we know for a fact times are not too kind. The country has no financial spine. But now is the time your heart should show. You can just see it and
So a good afternoon to each and every one of you guys.
and just to get them through and to give them hope in this hard time.
So as I said,
In
years later,
the box
this song is still relevant, right?
stand to hear.
The question is asked.
This people lose a lot. Meanwhile the bubble getting more fat. But you say they can get their money back. They feel it's handless to tell them that. But they know the little we have them report and know this. But I want him, this criminalism. A question was not out of place somewhere. But you nearly eat out she had. During the 10 years the opposition, you used to condemn the very same action. So it seems like wrong is only wrong based on the side of the fence you run. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, when you listen to the lyrics in this song,
yeah.
and you listen to when it was sung
Alisa,
and who it was sung about,
Lord knows the
a zebra
sacrifice
never changes his stripe, right?
the whole night like a zombie. Finally he win a little money. A whole year pass and you never pay me. And the Calypsonian, who how he felt you would understand and would give support to his farm. Instead you watered down his subvention.
All you really have heart.
Oh, now he knows you are up to no
Really
good.
have heart.
When you told him you would be better than Brenda
Really
Hood.
have heart.
If you do not want to stop and backtrack, it's to the caravan of hope people going to fly. Oh, all you really have heart.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, 10 years later, 15 years later, yes, and the song that was sung back then, All You Really Have Heart, yeah. I want to say good afternoon to each and every one of you guys again, and I hope that each and every one of you would have had yourself a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend, whatever you do, wherever you go. The folks from Post Royal, yes, the folks from Post Royal, they want to again extend a warm thank you to each and every one of you guys who came out and supported Post Royal Day, yes, and also the folks out there in the diaspora, the New York chapter, they definitely want to extend a warm thank you also, yes. I know many of you guys had a wonderful time. I mean, we literally saw it, right? We literally saw you guys enjoying it, and we want to say thank you so very much. Somebody say the song sounds like it was released last week. Yeah, definitely. When it was released last week, you know, it was not too long ago it was released. But the fact it was written and released back in 2010. Yes, All You Really Have Heart. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to start today by by basically, I want to start today. Yeah? I want to start today by tipping my hat off. And you see, sometimes persons say you respect an individual only on the notion that they might support your side or know that they're on your side. But ladies and gentlemen, for those of us who had the opportunity to listen to Mr. Lacretet yesterday, and I know some of you guys may have your disgruntledness towards Mr. Lacretet, but I want to extend what I believe was sharing an honest political opinion. I mean, he's a gentleman that have been quiet for a very, very long time. Mr. Lacretet has not said much in a very long time. And my holistic takeaway from yesterday was this. Let me just play it.
Dr. Mitchell is not a beast. So, I mean, regardless of how you feel about him, and regardless of how you feel about his politics, he's a human being, and as a result, he deserves the respect of everybody that he comes into contact with, regardless of how you feel about him and his politics. And that is why I've never ventured to disrespect him in any form, shape, or size. He's an elder statesman, of course, and from individuals like these, whether or not you respect his politics or not, you can learn a poor thing from him. He has been my member of parliament for the greater part of almost 4 decades of my life, basically. So that is who we grew to know as the political czars in the constituency, or I'll use your term again, the political juggernaut in the constituency. Yeah, and he is well respected in the constituency, and that is why, I mean, even if you're trying to make a name for yourself in the constituency as an opposing candidate, that does not mean that you try to tear down, destroy, mash up what another man has built so that you can stand tall on it. No, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work at all. You have your new path to create, and as a result of that, yeah, we have a very good cordial relationship. We would say hello to each other and hi, and just share a joke momentarily whenever we see about politics and the political landscape and about the constituency, etc., etc. So I want to wish him all the best as chairman of the National Party, yes, and whatever it is. Dr. Mitchell.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what is your feel on Jonathan Lacretet's conversation yesterday. But you see, that alone, that took me out in its totally. Yeah? This took me to the point where this is a gentleman who basically understands who and what he was coming up against, even in the last general election. And I don't want to shine too much a light on it, but I just want to commend him on that form of recognition, that maturity, that level of understanding. Yeah, somebody saying better late than never. Yeah, I want to congratulate him on that front, because at the end of the day, the fact is, let us be honest among ourselves. Is he just saying this, or was he basically, is he doing this for political gain? Ladies and gentlemen, if you've followed him from the campaign, come forward. Maybe we have a clip where he would have speak about Jonah on board, and he basically spoke about that. But how many times have you heard him ridiculed or openly disrespect the parliamentary representative, past prime minister, the chairman of the party? And I really want to tip my hat off to him, you know, on that bold move. Yes, listen to me. Politics requires or entails that of you being able to stand firm on what and who you believe in. Yeah? And when we look at the way somebody's saying to me, is indicating to me about the volume. Is it me or is it them? That was just a few minutes ago. Is anyone else having issues with the volume or anything of that sort? Somebody just messaged me about that. I don't think I've been having any issues with that from last week, and nothing would have changed. So just about a minute or so ago. If anybody, whether or not you're having issues with my volume, please indicate to me, because we don't want to go across with the program and you guys are not hearing me properly. I mean, my pitch is okay. I'm watching my pitch there. I don't know whether or not I need to lift my mic. My mic is up. If you guys are having any issues, just do by indicating. in the comment section, I'm hearing you. Somebody saying they're hearing me. It is low. All right, so are you guys hearing me better now? If you guys are hearing me better now, go, I'm seeing 2 persons saying that it's low. I don't know whether or not you're hearing me better now. Yeah? If you're hearing me better now, much of my pitch would have lifted a little bit. Or maybe the mic, I may need to lift the mic a little bit closer to my mouth. I am unaware. Alright, so let's go, because some persons are getting it and some persons are not. Alright, so let's see how best we walk along. If I'm too low, you can just indicate. Right? Somebody saying in their own belief that he would have done it for political gain. Yes, but let me say this. Setting aside what was said, and let's get around to the conversation. Setting aside what was said as it relates to Dr. Mitchell. Now, if we were to briefly touch on what Mr. Lacretet said that stirred the initial issue, baffles me greatly. Because if he is speaking the truth, and for those of us who didn't get it, I'm going to play little clips here and there so that you guys can hear them.
We trusted that the Prime Minister was going to investigate the matter and get back to me with feedback as it relates to their findings. But that did not happen. And weeks passed, and I remember sending 2 very cordial emails to the Prime Minister, just reminding him that we said that we were going to have a sit-down meeting with the Board of Directors of the National Lotteries Authority to ascertain whether or not they are in the know as to what is happening as it relates to my findings. And the questions that I have re the building out of these skilled training centers. I am still waiting for a response from these 2 emails. They came first week of July, and that was indeed an opportunity to forget that something was happening at the National Lotteries Authority that needed to be addressed. Around the 3rd week of July, I did motion to the Prime Minister after a cabinet meeting that I would like to just have a brief chat with him, and he obliged. And we spoke, and I said, Prime Minister, is there going to be a time that we are going to be able to address the issue that I raised with the National Lotteries Authority? I do not know if the Honourable Prime Minister felt that I was prying too much, or maybe he felt that this guy is not letting up on this thing. I will trust it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, based on what we're hearing here, and based on what has been shared, I want you to follow this. Yes? Somebody saying they're hearing a song in the background. That is because maybe I put the volume too high. Right? Basically, what Mr. Lacretet is saying here, ladies and gentlemen, raises my eyebrow in a lot of ways. Now, this is a gentleman tasked with a responsibility, and let's not just get piece of the story and jump to the next side, because I want you guys to get all the information that he shared, right? All the information that he shared in terms of the conversation, because we don't want to take it piece as they don't say.
I'm saying to myself, it came across as an execution style exit at the particular point in time, because I felt as somebody who is astute and intelligent, understand the terrain of law, etc., that you had 101 ways, Dr. Bob. 101 ways Sir could have dealt with that particular situation. Revoked my ministerial appointment and left me as a senator, and you could have placed me anywhere in the public sector to continue my service to the people of Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique with the senatorial title and still working in the Senate of Grenada. You could have placed me on a board or 2 so that I do not lose the financial package that I was receiving at the time, you know that I have a mortgage. You know that I have vehicular payments at the end of the month and other financial facilities with financial organizations. And I sat for the past 11 months trying to decipher in my mind, because my wife was 5.5, 6 months pregnant at the time of my firing, and she had to be hospitalized because her pressure went to the roof. And I almost lost both of them.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I want you guys to take into consideration all that is being said. A gentleman whom I believe most of us respects his honesty. And as I said to you, I'm going to go as deep as I can because there is a lot that was said. Here's another clip of what was played. We're going to speak in a while, but I want you guys to hear.
Finance Department of the National Lotteries Authority. When I met with the members of the Finance Department of the National Lotteries Authority, they pinpointed to me some discrepancies and some financial improprieties that they feel needed to be addressed, because one staff member said to me, I am not going to jail for this, Minister. I am not. As somebody who has worked in finance for a number of years, I able to ask for the financials for a particular period, and in screening through the financials, I found some financial improprieties. And I went straight to the permanent secretary and I said, PS, we need to deal with this in a very systematic and a very diplomatic manner. And we agreed that it must be brought before the body who constituted the board of directors in the first place, which is the Cabinet of Grenada. So that took place on the 31st of May, that was a Friday, and I went to the Cabinet on Monday, June 3rd, with all the information that I had. And I laid it before them as it relates to what are we going to do about this particular situation.
Can you articulate or can you shed some light? I'm not too sure how much you can share. You were just saying here that there were financial improprieties. What were some examples of those financial improprieties that the accounting team, the financial team with the law?
Well, we didn't get the entire, I didn't cut it to up to the point where he gave those proprieties. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to get down to the nitty-gritty of this. Now, a minister of government that was tasked with the responsibility of a specific entity went through the process of what I would consider to be inventory. Yeah? Assessment and inventory. And as he mentioned, he would have found some issues, some problems here or there, based on what he's saying. Yes? Now, with his findings, he brought it to the attention of the cabinet. Yes? In bringing it to the attention of the cabinet, after bringing it, realizing that, hey, you know what? It's been a while since I brought this up. I am not hearing or getting any feedback on it. And so as he mentioned, he sent an email to the Prime Minister saying, hey, remember, I came to the cabinet, we spoke about this. What is going on with this? Now, up to yesterday morning, when the interview was being done, there was no reply to the email that was sent by Mr. Lacretet. Going further, on realizing that there was no response, yes, he then met with the Prime Minister in person. So after a cabinet meeting or so on, he would have said to the Prime Minister, hey, you know, let me just have a minute or two with you. And so the Prime Minister gave in. He was like, okay, you know, no problem. Prime Minister met with him. He again asked, what is the situation with the findings I brought forward to you? ladies and gentlemen, now at this stage, the only results that we have from this very said matter is that Mr. Lacretet was fired from his position altogether. He was fired from the position altogether. Questions that are now arising from this, and I am asking now, and today I'll be asking that individual a lot of questions, because he seems to have moved from going to school, a public relation officer, and now he's an investigator. So I am asking the public relation officer of the National Democratic Congress to do another investigation, and the information that Mr. Lacretet would have brought up with the NLA at the time, we as a people want to know whether or not that issue or issues that he mentioned are actually quote unquote true. I know you will come back and tell us whether or not the NLA give you the information. You don't have no kind of limitation to what you just talk about. So you will tell us. Yeah? We used to you telling us when you get things, who give you. We used to that. Yes? Somebody's indicating that it's pre-recorded, but we're stating from the time it was brought forward and the time he spoke, the email was not answered. Right? So, my thing, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Again, we want to know whether or not those issues that was brought up, those issues that Mr. Lacretet would have had to deal with, yes, whether or not it involved ministers of government, whether it involved cabinet ministers, parliamentary representatives. We want to know what were they, and whether or not now, because you have gotten so fuzzy in finding out whether or not something is true, we want to know if what Mr. Lacretet is saying is not true. And in doing so, we're still asking you to present the information that you got from the Integrity Commission and disclose to the Grenadian people who gave you the information. So there is a clarion call to Mr. Ron Redhead to find out for us, because you have been doing 2 weeks of intense investigation. Your findings seems to be one that is getting persons cleared from situation. Yes? So we are asking you, please, Mr. Ron Redhead, the allegations that have now arisen of basic, mere corruptive practice. Yeah? Because, again, we have moved from bribery, we have one of corruption, and now we are settled on the allegation that we are allowing, basically we aiding and abetting the practice. Yeah? We are aiding and abetting the ill practice. So, Mr. Redhead, whether or not it involves you being part of the investigation also, because we know you had played some part or the other in the NLA for a little while. So let us not cause you or pressure you enough to have to even investigate yourself. So we're asking you to please, based on what Mr. Lacretet is saying here, he's placing another member of your party, because it seems like you see Bajan. Yeah? You see Bajan in the family. So whenever somebody talk about the family, you will defend him. So there is a probable accusation that goes further in basically stating that when an individual had brought up an issue of him believing that there are some ill practices within the National Lotteries Authority, and it was brought to cabinet on making inquiry as to getting the issue solved, the individual was fired. The individual was fired. So, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, my question and your question should be, what was happening in the NLA? Whether or not it is still happening in the NLA, and whether or not an investigation was done after Mr. Lacretet was fired or terminated. So it means whether it is happening still, whether or not it has been investigated and solved, we are unaware. See how these issues start coming afloat, and now the conversation of corruption. I remember telling a friend last week, you have heard Jenny Simon. I said, await Brother Jonathan Lacretet. He laughed, and maybe I could make the conversation visible tonight. I will try to ensure that I take that little piece and I post it tonight, where I said to an individual, and I haven't had any conversations with Mr. Lacretet. Let me tell you something. I have a police spirit in me that has caused me to sometimes look at people and understand the character. I don't know how many of you guys that watched the video where Sister Jenny was basically posing the question when they had the press conference, and the body reaction from Minister Andy Williams. For those of you who have a little policing in you, go back and watch this video and see if that is the same jovial, high-spirited, high-motivated, convulsive level of Andy Williams. And since after that conversation has been made public, watch his deportment and manner and behavior. See whether or not that is the fly, upbeat, want everybody to know kind of Andy Williams that you are now getting, as opposed to when we heard nothing of that nature and he was fly. He believed that he could have saved anything. See whether or not his body action and body reaction as of late represents that of the jovial Andy that we knew 4 months, 5 months back. Instead, what we're getting is a level of empathy and sympathetic plea from him. The people is going to defend me. I am doing this for the people. People will see who is Andy Williams, because at the end of the day, he start realizing that the truth, yes, would start presenting itself the more time that we have. We know he was very lull in speech. He wasn't this person that could have speak really good. But let me say to you, he has gotten worse. So the fly Andy that we knew, and the one that was all zesty, and as we the old people say, braiga, we have started seeing a lull in his behavior. But you see, at the end of the day, when we can have the level of political illiteracy among us, because remember, this is a minister of government that said to people, listen to me, I don't have no idea. I don't have no idea. This is a gentleman whose 3 years characteristics speaks for itself. probable stealing by rape, by employment, conversation of bounce check, corrupt scandals in the customs office. And we understand now the individual is a cabinet secretary. GDB loan, cliff project saga. I mean, when you look at the individual, we cannot forget, you know. And NMP supporters, this is not a time to forget. This is not a time to forget. We have a tendency of forgetting. We have to keep on these persons, letting them know that we haven't forgotten. And the thing about it, they want us to prove our information. Every time something comes up, they're asking for our information. Well, let me remind you guys of this.
The Honorable Prime Minister, gentleman of Polish origin, applied apparently to be made ambassador at large on behalf of the citizens of Grenada. That gentleman was told, and it appears that the cabinet, the then cabinet, agreed to appoint the gentleman as ambassador at large. He was told that in order to do so, he needed to pay US $290,000 to the state of Grenada. $150,000 was paid to the state of Grenada, and there's a treasury receipt for it. Another $140,000 was paid to the new National Party South St. George office. Let me repeat that. $140,000 was paid, and this is in June of 2022, right before the elections. $140,000 paid to the new National Party South St. George office. We have the records.
Why isn't NNP supporters, why are we not now asking for these records? Where are those records? We are awaiting the cabinet conclusion of the findings of the no Prime Minister, that 3 years later to date, because he said it happened in June of 2022 before the general election. Ladies and gentlemen, why are we not now asking 3 years later, where is the cabinet conclusion in which the Prime Minister would have alleged the past cabinet of embezzling more than $140,000 through their private political organization? Where is the cabinet conclusion for this? All you want to see files for $115,000, and they want information from the NNP. The NNP didn't allege anybody of anything. There was a private podcaster who presented the information and made it public, not the NNP, because all you start to attack the NNP. However, to defend the party, the NDC went along, and in order to clarify the name of the individual, you guys went and investigated. NNP did not allege the Prime Minister. I'm sorry, well, yeah, the Prime Minister. You could call him that. He has served longer than the elected one. So, ladies and gentlemen, when they presented as a political organization and sitting administration that they would have found this level of corrupt practice, where was the evidence? The question to date is to be asked, where is this evidence? Why are we not asking that the National Democratic Congress present this information to the state of Grenada? Where is it? And we sit aside and we watch these guys and we hear this level of allegations more and more and more, and we are playing as if we forget. Corrupt information continues to surface. An individual alleged a sitting parliamentary representative of selling a motor vehicle. Well, you want to talk corruption? Let's talk corruption. A sitting parliamentary representative, all the documents was presented by the individual who alleged the individual of selling a motor vehicle. Every bit of information. Based on what I know, to sell a vehicle without the consent of the owner is an offense in the state of Grenada. Carriacou and Pidimatli. All this information was made public not by the New National Party, but by the individual who was involved. Again, they spoke to Jenny Simon, not the NNP. So now all of you running out about NNP this and NNP want to bribe and NNP want to talk about bribery. NNP didn't say. This is an individual. This is the second situation I'm giving you. Somebody alleged them. But the NDC made the Grenadian people believe in that of Claudette Joseph that the faith program was a corrupt one, and individual or individuals who was within the program would have been arrested and charged. My question to date is whether or not Claudette Joseph and the National Democratic Congress administration would have found anything illegitimate in getting any person involved within the faith program arrested and charged. You know, like me, if you don't know, because you know when I get a little bit hot, I just get hot fast. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we hear of corrupt conversations, ask them whether or not they are not the ones alleging the NNP or the individuals alleging the NDC. It's not NNP. Now we have this one being surfaced by Jonathan Lacretet. Is he NNP? So we have Jenny Simons alleging them of three. I will touch you next one just now. The GDB saga. Tell me where there did the NNP step forward to ask NNP to present and how NNP alleging NDC members of corruption and bribery. Where there did the NNP do anything? Here we have Brother Jonathan Lacretet making the accusation and the information that he's bringing forward. We have Jenny Simon and at least three, well two, the GDB one and the no bribery. We have the individual with the motor vehicle issue, that is four. Tell me where there did the NNP or any member or executive member, leader, chairman, anybody of the NNP allege them of doing anything. Yeah? So my question is to them, present to me when did the NNP allege you guys of bribery and corruption? When? Where? You are the ones that I keep calling NNP name. Polish man. Huh? Faith program. There was even an allegation that there were members within the seed program who were ministers' friends and family members. Realize the voice going a little bit. And then now water close by. But I won't get through. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is a group of people. And every time I ask the question, what did NNP do? Remember time before when an individual was on all radio station calling all members all kind of name. All kind of name and all kind of name. And they liking and they supporting. And they spending monies. Yeah? They sending monies to the program. They sending monies, they're donating to the program. And these individuals were NDC members. Fellas who were in the NDC, supporting that program, holistically. But when he do something and we call on him, first thing they say, he's not a member of the NDC. He's not a member of the NDC. Calling the Prime Minister, all kind of name, the ex-Prime Minister, all kind of name, all kind of thing he said. And when we think and we ask about it, he's not a member of the NDC. NDC won in 2008. He was on the bandwagon, man. Jump up, all about the place. He get walking, not all kind of thing. They lose in 2013, he went back talking bad about the NNP. When we start to blast him, oh, he's not a member of the NDC. Nothing to do with the NDC. Yeah? He won again in 2022. He's up close and personal again. He getting an award this time. So, when individuals talk about the NNP and we call on them, they're not NDC members. But now, there's a few persons in their private scope and entity giving them West. And you're only bawling, oh, are you this NNP? Are you this NNP? How them is NNP? How are they NNP? They are not card-bearing members. They are open like everybody else when we have public meeting to engage with members and minister and parliamentary representative. So if they take a picture with Emmeline Pierre, Honorable Emmeline Pierre, them is a NNB. I take out a picture with Andy Williams, is a NDC. Y'all are speaking because the pressure is not coming from NNP yet. The pressure is not coming from NNP yet. So all who you guys are affiliating with the NNP, what we have to do with that? What does the NNP have to do with that? When the issues are arised, like the issue of bribery come up, go on any one of NNP's platform, the social media platform, go and watch any one of the meetings. See whether or not any one of the ministers, or the parliamentary representatives would have said, Andy Williams was take bribery and Andy Williams do. No. The very first time the NNP addressed the issue of bribery is when Mr. Ron Redhead proclaimed that he get information, from the Integrity Commission. So when that happened, it is a breach of state proceedings. And so the NNP as a political organization step forward and say, listen to me, if you get your information, it is against the law of the land and we want to know where you get it. When? Tell me, which one of the sitting opposition members ever alleged the NDC of the bribery, the corruption, the GDB scandal, the what? But every time something happens, it's the NNP. And you see what happened and what is happening is the NNP that are addressing those issues. Because now we have movements and pushment and swingment and sowment, but they are the ones that are not addressing those issues. And so we had Christian Society, we had Friends of the Earth, we had women's right, we had girls' right, we had boys' right, we had ladies' left, we had all kind of institutions in Grenada to keep at bay with the actions of the then government. But to date, the question is asked, where are they? Where are they today? Friends of the Earth, where are you? Go in Carriacou. Friends of the Earth, go in Carriacou. Where are you? Where are you, Friends of the Earth? Christians, churchgoers, worshippers, where are you? Prime Minister saying last night on a cruise, take jab, take jab. Where all you want to take jab, I don't know where you want all you put it. And we sit as a society and only balling NNP because it's NNP who's in the betterment of the people of Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique. They are the ones with the clarion call for the people who are not making the noise. Because where are all of them today? Where all of them? They were asking you to get rid of Kit Mitchell. Get rid of this one and get rid of that one. Where is it? Where is it? Oil and gas conversation. I don't leave it alone. I'm not leaving the oil and gas conversation alone. A gentleman posted some time back. See, I have always said, and in my program I have said it before, that day is going to come. That day would have come where God would have given the National Democratic Congress that opportunity, and I foresee it, Since in 2020, I didn't want my party lose, but I somewhat foresee it, and my question was, the day these people get inside it, persons are going to test them on the things that they condemn. Some years back, the great Speaker of the House would have posted on his Facebook profile, and not literally the speaker, oh God, put a hand. Gas price gone up again. The gas price finally reached $15.02 per gallon, thanks to the NNP. Tell all you, everything is regurgitating itself so nicely in this country that it gives you that feeling to just laugh when it happens. So when gas price went up to $15.02 in Grenada, it was the fault of the NNP. NNP was the fault. NNP was the fault for gas price going up. We saw gas prices rocketed to $16 in Grenada after this administration took office. When the issue became out of hand, the past administration said, you know what? We're going to cap the gas prices at $15. And it would be kept there for the betterment of the consumers of the day-to-day runnings, the man that would just chew out $2 to get a little gas. And they kept with that promise. Ladies and gentlemen, over the weekend last, brace your nerves. Brace your nerves. We've seen the increase in gas price this month by $14. And it starts to peak. And who is following international information? With recent developments, it seems like it is about to take a toll on the consumers in the Western world. Brace your nerves. At the end of the day, when you want to measure a man's performance by believing you can do better as a spectator, the Lord does give you the opportunity to play the game. I remember in excess of 5 years after Hurricane Ivan, there were persons still collecting relief and under program. Could you believe that we are bracing 1 year after the pass of Hurricane Beryl, and we're hearing a probable seizure in the program that will aid in basically sufficing for the persons of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Persons may not be able to go any further in terms of the burial relief program. I'm talking about a mere few days, and I'm saying days after the hurricane, because we're talking about 365 days thereof. Ladies and gentlemen, when you listen to this administration and you go through what has become their modus operandi, their regular practice, these persons could never say to me that they are together in what they believe in. Ladies and gentlemen, you can say to me, my father is saying to me, do this. And later on down, he says, don't do this. And then he come back and he said, do this. And then my sister might say, remember daddy said, don't do this. But then daddy come back and say something else. Well, we saw that saga last week, and let me give you a little taste of it because we break it up.
I do want to highlight one thing though, that I've seen Jab Jab already being played on Nation Rolls. It's a little too early for that, so there's something that we have to talk about. There's carnival season and there's non-carnival season. We're not quite yet. It's just too early to have Jab Jab being played on the roads.
But when people take to the streets in June and July, months before Carnival, Mr. Speaker, we have to ask ourselves, and we must ask ourselves, have we taught them what Jab Jab really means? And so the answer, Mr. Speaker, tragically is no. So this is what the cost of cultural illiteracy is.
A few moments later.
This is only local music we play from now till you go back into. You say Jam was split.
Now let me tell you guys openly, and anybody who knows me well can testify to this. I am not a Jab Jab fan. I am not fond of Jab. So I'm not in support of well, persons should know me by now. I try to be very much articulative and understanding of the laws of the land. But you see, when the lawmakers start to jackass it, sorry for my language, it brings a level of idiotic behavior amongst the revelers. Because, let me say this to you. This young lady understands Jab. For you to even make this statement, you understand Jab. And even if I don't like Jab, I have gotten to understand Jab. Jab dates back to slavery. And it was a rebellious action. Massa, with his whip, could not have stopped the reveling or the portrayal of Jab. So, just to make that statement brings you in an illiterate light. Because if you understand Jab, when you hear the word Jab and you look at the description of the word Jab, ladies and gentlemen, it speaks to reveling and rebellion. So you does not even understand Jab. Yes? So when you come and you make a statement, and this is the second time, Let me give you the example, and let me bring her to school, because this is the classroom. Allow me to do it. Dear Minister, Jab is a significant aspect of Caribbean Carnival, particularly in Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago. It refers to a masquerade character often depicting a devil-like figure derived from the French patois Dabiel, meaning devil. Jabs are known of their intimidation presence, often carrying whip and wearing mask, and they embodied both cultural and spiritual meaning within the carnival tradition. The character represented a blend historical influence and is a vital part of the festivity of the Caribbean in celebrating the Caribbeans. It shows rebellion. It shows rebellion to slavery, which dates back to the days of Massa. So when you come trying to think that it's the people that is illiterate, you is the one that don't know. Jab don't have a date. Jab don't have a time. We celebrate it around our festive season, but we often see Jab if we're launching, either is cricket in the stadium, something may be happening, independence. But then, to make it even worse, within days after you try to preach illiteracy on the comprehension of Jab, your Prime Minister stands and he says, Jab must play. How you feeling? How you feel? How you feel? To sound so nice and now, a few days later, to look so dumb. Because your henchman, your boss, your chief comes out and he say, what do I? Play Jab. Play Jab. Jab must play. Take Jab, take Jab. A few days later. Ladies and gentlemen, it goes to show that you yourself, you yourself as an individual does not even respect your somebody, because you're a nice speech girl. You're a nice speech. How she song? How did she song, bright? Say she did song when she say Ivan passed in 2014. Oh child. We have to give her a little leeway. Yeah? You know they just take an advantage and do what they want. Leave her. Mommy Popo, okay? Leave her. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to leave you with something. Just a really short clip from someone. And I want you guys to understand that the actions from the Prime Minister yesterday is bad leadership in its sense. Yeah? As a parent, think of it yourself. That you tell your child to do that now, and you tell him to do that later on, and you tell him. Most parents, when co-parenting, always have that issue. Because one parent saying this, and then the other parent saying that, and this one saying this. It normally sometimes distorts the mind of an individual. The boss said this, then you agree with the boss, and then the boss come and tell. Even you feel stupid. Because I remember that feeling that I'm in town as a police officer, and I would issue a ticket. I would issue a ticket to an individual. And when I go to the station, the boss come and tell me, I cancel the ticket. Like, so what is the purpose of me work? You're not on the ground. I issue the ticket based on my discretion, my belief that the offense was committed. And then you come and you cancel the ticket. So you say Jab playing to one. The member agree with you. Yeah, Jab playing to one. Yeah? She don't believe the people know and understand. the meaning of job. What? Kirino, easy, you know. I could call her that. I will let her know. Yeah. So you come and you make it sound so nice. Yeah? And then the Prime Minister goes 2 days after and says, job must play. And then the minister who represents one of the biggest festivals within the state, that is the Fisherman's Birthday, that is happening in June, say, oh, you find people going on the street in June. And yes, no, one of the most significant things in Guav for Fisherman Birthday is street jam. Street jam is a somewhat carnival setting, you know. Because you see, my thing is this: you're allowing bands to launch, whether it be private or public. Yeah, you're allowing Veco to be on the road. There was Veco in most of the launch in if you go in Guava and Victoria, most of the places that launch, you know. And then you have a few little places that want to launch a jab. And you're talking about jab playing too. You're lucky. No, somebody say, that my family. That's my family. No. You see, I want you guys to get the difference with it. Huh? Yeah? James is pronounced James. Yeah? It is a surname that depicts a whole different light to it. And then there is James, and it is pronounced James. Get the difference. Not all James is James. There is James and there is James. Yeah? Get the difference. You have to learn the difference. You understand me? Yeah? So, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to end with this evening, I believe that the Prime Minister shows lack of leadership in what was done and said yesterday. I won't even attempt to go on the moral conduct, because I want you guys to understand this. It is accepted amongst the goons. So the Prime Minister can say, take susu, and you answer in whatever obscene or derogatory way. He can say, take jab, and answer in whatever way you believe. And it is accepted. Yeah? It has been a norm that our public or one of our highest public figure in the state can now ask of you to respond in an obscene manner. So I'm guessing it is okay for the questions to be posed when in a press conference, so you find it is obscene language right for what the obscene language you guys are doing to the obscene language country? And he may answer, and he may not see that as bad, because you're asking a response now. Imagine this. And a parent who was on that cruise and might have responded, let's suppose the NDC, her son or daughter says, you know, F sharp or mother so and so tonight or tomorrow, they're looking to cut their skin. But we accept that. And when Dr. Mitchell says, is me that money? I'm only sorry I didn't get more. This young lady, and this moral standard, and as somebody posted it, the moral standard, and you always hear me say that. Sometimes everything don't have to be in black and white, you know. Everything don't have to be in black and white. There's some moral conduct that goes with you. And nothing right down no way, law book that says when you see, or you're an NNP, or you see Miss Pierre, or you see Dr. Mitchell, that you greet them gingerly. There's nothing wrong, but in your moral capacity, you tend to show that level of respect. Yeah? You tend to be. So ain't nothing wrong, ain't nothing, but at the end of the day, there must be some moral capacity that must be depicted, must be shown. Obscene language are an offense in the state. And you have persons blottering it out. He's driving by and an individual decides to say, the PM. And maybe the officers in the vehicle may want to stop and arrest the individual. But come on. Yeah? And as I said, let me just run through this one really quickly. That individual, they said what I think I wanted to say.
I said in a program many times ago, it is reasonable for me to believe that the Prime Minister of Grenada is on some mind-altering substance. He seems to be so inconsistent with the statements that he makes. It bothers me, because having delved in the life of some celebrities and success stories and legal people, I know that a lot of them are on mind-altering substance. And I reasonably believe that the Prime Minister could be on that. A number of actions he's taken. Imagine the Prime Minister say, morality is a private thing. We are not speaking about a man who shot in words. That is the strength of lawyers. Words. Remember, the Prime Minister said, when he was in a very good, comfortable, happy mood in an alien land, that we campaign on transformation, but it is not so much transformation. It is more restorative justice. When you see the inconsistencies, why did the Prime Minister give about $16 million to MIT for the Ministry of Housing? And you have the Ministry of Housing. So why take money from housing and give it to MIT? That doesn't make sense. If you have MIT, and I thought that the thinking behind it was to facilitate and avoid bottlenecks and speed up implementation. But another ministry doing it. So if MIT are doing it, who now is trying to speed up implementation in MIT? When you see the contradiction, let us go back to the Sumo agreement. The Prime Minister said he didn't read the document. The Prime Minister is a liar. That document had to go to the Attorney General office. The Prime Minister said he didn't read it. But look at the demeanor, the expression, the face, the passion of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. When this man was vehemently against the document. The Prime Minister said he didn't read it, but he was attacking a Catholic priest from Trinidad. We have to be concerned. We have an individual in Grenada that I believe is a fake, and he seems to be on some mind-altering substances. But he's dabbling in big money. Now look at the Polaris project. When you watch some of the things, it doesn't make sense. $118 million were given for the insurance program. And these individuals don't know what to do with the money. They're confused. You see that in communities where somebody inherits family money and they share it away. So we are in a lot of problems. So I'm not surprised at the Prime Minister's action. I think he's a fake, and I believe I'm reasonable. It is reasonable for one to believe that he is on some mind-altering substance.
That being said, ladies and gentlemen, summarize what I honestly believe within myself. I'm being very honest. Deacon Mitchell and the NDC is too inconsistent. Their incompetence on little things of importance, the decisions that are being made and the manner in which they're being made, the carelessness when the issues are brought forward, the ignorance of the important things, I really do believe to myself that this is an individual that is basically phasing through a process that, hey, I want to be here, I am here, but this is not where I have to be. Even if, and let me say this, we have evolutionalized in many ways. The Prime Minister wants to have a cruise, have a cruise. But ladies and gentlemen, again, there ought to be some moral capacity, some moral conduct that must be present. If the Prime Minister walks into a room, there must be some form of understanding among everyone that is there that the Prime Minister is here. Your deportment and decorum must depict that. Dr. Mitchell, when he sat back as the Prime Minister to knock a little domino in his private capacity, he knocked his little domino, he laughed with his friends, he giggled with his friends. But whenever this gentleman walks in any setting, and even to date, you felt his presence. I'm saying to you, we must be among the laughter walk line. Yeah? And when Dr. Mitchell or Honorable Emlyn Pay arrives, you feel a difference among the people. And it is not demanded. It comes because the array from the individual is sensed. You know, some people, when you meet them, you feel that elegance, you feel that respect. They're not demanding it. It comes from you automatically. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Yeah? And it shows. Even with men, you see an individual that you can say, hey, what's going on? And there's another person that you may see walking, and you may say, good morning, ma'am. Good evening. What illuminates from you based on your characteristic would indulge within the land or area that you are. People would feel that you're there. Man going and stand up on Chuck Juve morning asking people to put up hand a few years ago, nobody to study you. You decide now to get the next opportunity, and you decide no, the only way I can get them to respond to me is by having them cause a bad one. And we must accept that among our peers and friends. And tomorrow we're asking, where these young people get that? Where they get that? How they come so? And we want to pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for them. These are the people we have to pray for, because they are the ones leading our young people. They are the ones that are responsible. I shouldn't say they're leading them, but they are responsible for. Imagine with so many young people in Grenada, entrepreneurs and other things. I remember when they had Imani programs, and Imani programs were having awards and so on. And then we had their own, and the city of the night tried to do our own youth award ceremony. When you look at the persons, ask them what they have gotten the award, in what category, what did they do, how are they involved within the party. See, one day he recently even registered as an electorate, but he assisted. So the last election, to the time he registered, he was in no position to assist the party in terms of, anything in going forward, because he was not even in a position to give any word to the state as it relates to electing a political organization. But he's within the NDC, quote unquote, getting an award for what? Some of them I see they were part of youth programs of the NNP, youth parliament, youth groups, youth forums, youth facilitation, some of them would have taught. I saw 2 that I taught as a youth facilitator. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it brings us to the end of today's broadcast. I realized tonight I might have to do a little honey or something. I've been having a cough for the entire weekend, and I've realized that a lot of persons have been having it. I don't know, I had like 1 day of bad feelings. I don't know. And then I read up about the dengue fever issue. If you guys are having flu-like symptoms, I'm asking you guys to please, get your fluids and all these things. For over the weekend I was on the fluids and on soup and so I just have a cough now, and I realize after today I'm getting a little bit of voice thing. Yeah, but as I said to you guys, in going forward, my pledge to myself, is that I come here and try my best every time to ensure that I do a program. And I'm pleading with you guys. I want you guys to get a little bit more interactive. The lines are opened, the opportunity is there to be able to call in and converse. So I am pleading with you guys. There are days, feel free to make a phone call. The WhatsApp group has been created. We have had about 30 something members already. For those of you guys who are on the group chat, there is a virus on the rise and these are its symptoms. Okay, so yeah, I've heard persons speak about it. It's really, and in the night I'm feeling really off. But I grew up with old people, so big time in the morning, big time in the night. Put on your clothes, rub the center of your head, sleep with the socks. I grew up with old parenting, man, so I think I should be able to be all right. So as I was saying, guys, we want to keep that momentum. You hear the questions that I'm posing? Those are the questions we ought to be asking. Let's stop sleep up on things that they did. Let's stop sleeping on them. Let's remind them of those things. Irregularization, well, we will touch on that tomorrow. Because we heard they gone back again and they're asking questions about regularization, and they mandated themselves by this quarter coming, we would have seen more persons being regularized. But it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, register. Tomorrow we're going to go through some information as it relates to the CBI and the amount of persons now that have been registered as under the CBI program. It really pushes the voters list. It is a lot of persons that have been included to be on the voters list. We're talking in excess of 11,583 persons. We're all into the 19,000s of the, it's a lot. And it's something that you guys need to pay attention to. It is not a sweep under the rug. We're asking you guys to pay full attention, particular attention to those things. So ladies and gentlemen, we thank you guys so very much for being a part of this evening's program. We are going to be back here again tomorrow, same time, same place. There haven't been any hindrances. I have no engagement for tomorrow. I hope nothing comes up, and I want to keep it like that. And many persons always say to me, keep it like that. One person told me today, when they weren't seeing me, they thought the other side would have bought me. For those of you who know me well, you know I can't be bought. I am rooted and grounded within the new national party. Rooted and grounded. This is not a today supporter. And if you go back, well, my father is still alive. You can go back and you would ask him, find out from him how long this little boy have been supporting Tellstone. Yeah, I go back to here, Tellstone. Yeah, I've always been a lover of the New National Party, and more so Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. And I always said my hardest day is in this political arena is when Dr. Mitchell would finally say goodbye. Sometimes I don't even want to think about it. Yeah? But the day Dr. Mitchell finally hangs this hat up, it would dent me politically. I would not leave and, I'll be part of the party and all these things. But I'm just saying, to see this legend, to see this individual say goodbye to our politics is going to be a day that will set me back. Yeah? And I know that because I have learned to respect and understand this gentleman's politics. Yeah? It is not a fake. It is not something he's fighting to do. It is just in him. His understanding of politics and people. And as Mr. Lacretet said in the opening, he's not perfect, he's human. And every time you have accepted, I have been failing or have failed. He's not perfect. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to keep the vibes, stay rooted and grounded as we continue to ensure that this rescue mission and the rescuing of Grenada is completed. Yes? And at the end and of the night of our victory, we all can meet and hug and greet and laugh and say we did it, and we did it together. Yeah? Do have yourself a wonderful evening, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to leave with this one. All you really have heart. After 3 years, all you really have heart.
For 30 long years, some were living in dark. You say you go bring illumination back. And when for some it was blood and tears, you presented yourself as the heart who cares. So we say, they wait till it was too late. And with the ex they give the heart the blessing. But now, some people vow that it seems as though the heart stopped beating. Some people believe that all you didn't have a heart from the start. But these people are in the dark. They do not understand that in fact. The man on the hill in St. Patrick's know that. He said, man, you refuse to give the contract. But when all your campaign was in action, he yellow up the whole junction. And that the green he couldn't get a hold on. The yellowness was too vibrant and too strong. But at him as they drag him in the dust, now all you commit is even worse. Oh, what about the old queen in the back of St. Andrews? She used to buzz out the wind, now she feels she lose. She house used to fool her yellow ancestries. People used to say she have yellow disease. Now you take she pension and water, cause she have some son in Canada. Now when the mountain fall, she go in by the post office as usual. Cause she don't want green people know she ain't getting that money no more. All you really have heart, oh, oh. Now she is disappointed in you. She feels shame and I'm angry too. All you have to fix up things like that. Otherwise the stay will be short. Cause all you really have heart. touted yourself as the heart of gold, and such a heart could never seem cold. So don't mind how you try to justify. It is cold to pay fat when a loved one die. Now the poor people who put the X for you are wondering where the hell the heart went. They find in recent time that they go into misery and torment. The cost of some son is that ridiculous in this land. That is why some people feel sure if you had a heart, it is there no more. But I know the little young man will tell you the same thing. He know deep down inside that all you fooling. You telling me, man, he was so dumb. Just do his best, better bound to come. Now we cannot see what better about your program. Plus you pretending you did promise him 1,000. So in you he lose all his faith and trust. If he got bloods and crips can be worse. Oh, what about the brother who walk years with CCC? To be laugh you tear for his family. When you sing change he dance to your rhythm, never knowing that move would affect him. Soon as you come you take that decision and send CCC back where they come from. Now he's on the breadline, his family's future is in decline. Now he wonders why was I so sad. Look how I go and vote out me walk. Now some days he feels like giving up. He cannot put food in his family pot. No, it is believe the things like that that does make people say Jonah coming back, because all you really have heart. Hey, hey. Now we know for a fact times are not too kind. The country has no financial spine. But now is the time your heart should show. You can just sit and blame the ones before. Cause it is you people and just to get them through and to give them hope in these hard times we're facing. So when the bug hurt them, they can stand to hear you can do nothing. These people lose a lot. Meanwhile the bug load getting more fat. But you say they can get their money back. They feel it's heartless to tell them that. But I know the little we have them report and know this. While trying to be a true journalist, a question was not out of place or where, but you nearly hit out she head. During your tenure as the opposition, you used to condemn the very same action. So it seems like wrong is only wrong based on the side of the fence you run. Oh, what about the pan man struggling from year to year? Who felt finally somebody would care? Lord knows the way he sacrificed greatly, practicing the whole night like a zombie. Finally he win a little money. A whole year pass and you never pay. And the Calypsonian, oh how he felt you would understand and would give support to his reform. Instead you watered down his subvention. Now he knows you were up to no good. When you told him you would be better than Brenda Hood. If you do not want to stop and backtrack, it's to the caravan of hope